For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast with 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years in that games meeting combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. But if you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below. If
you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation podcast. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. It's a late one. It's just before 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. No wrestling this weekend, though, Max. Everything's thrown out because of a different event. And my child.
Yes, instead of physical wrestling this week, you emotionally wrestled with the events of today.
Oh, man, yeah. We're just going to get straight into it, you reckon?
Yeah, fuck it, let's get straight into it.
Boom. All right, so today I weighed my way into the Melbourne CBD for the Game Expo. The Game Expo, it's marketed itself as this brand new video games expo, or at least gaming culture community expo for the beginning of the year. First of its kind. Okay, cool. Let's set up some pre-explanation to this. So, I applied for a media pass fuck knows how long ago. We got approved. So, big thank you to the team. So, even though I got a free pass, preface about what I'm about to say. Up until like literally 3 days ago, so 2 days before the expo was to happen, really no one had any idea what was going on. This last week, they have announced their sponsors. They've announced some panels. Still haven't announced what was on the floor, really, right? And a map went up probably Friday, right? So there was really no understanding of what was going to be in there. So fuck me, I guess, for applying for a pass way before information was readily available. But we did. So, some of the things is... Where do you want me to start, Max?
From the beginning.
Well, as in, like, do I talk about like my expectations going in, or my experience, or how do you want to work this out?
Yeah. Go from what your expectations of it were to what the reality was.
Based on the information that we had going in, my expectations were not very high. I was like, this is probably going to be a little bit... It's going to be tiny. Imagine there'll be a couple things there, in terms of like... Well, this is kind of what they've marketed themselves. Now, so they've marketed themselves... not verbally, like not directly saying it, but the marketing at which they've used, the way they've been displaying it, they've been essentially selling themselves as a PAX Lite, right? It's the same venue as PAX. It's, it's kind of pulling the same idea of, hey, it's got this, that, the other panels, blah, 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 blah. It's selling itself like it's PAX, but a smaller version. This event is no PAX. And I've come to find out that, like, apparently the internal messaging of the company, or like in terms of all the volunteers, whatever, is like, hey, we are not a small PAX. Like, I'm sorry, your marketing says very different. Expectation was low. Because first of its kind, the first of anything is always a little bit rough. So I rock up, and first of all, it was a little bit weird, because last time I went to the convention center was for PAX. The whole welcome home banners and all the beautiful marketing that PAX has, non-existent. It was just blank. I was like, oh.
Am I in the wrong spot?
Yeah, I walk up in the wrong spot. I'm like, sure, no worries. I go up to the lady at the door. She said, hey, how can I help you? I'm like, hey, I'm here for the Game Expo. I'm like, yep. I'm here to pick up my media pass. She's, oh, yeah, just jump in the VIP line over there. I'm like, VIP? Oh, okay. Go in there, get my pass. Like, I skipped the whole line. It was awesome. That part was pretty sweet. Bingo. Boop. Get my pass. Head on in. The room at which they were using was the equivalent to the room for PAX that is just used to line up to get into the main area. You know, that first area where all like the whiny parts are, literally that big. Now, once again, not being a big fuck off convention for its first of its kind, I wasn't expecting to use the whole floor. That would be insane. The dollars on that alone can only exist, but through the likes of Reed, Pop, and PAX. Cool. Why use this venue then? Short answer. Question number 1. Walk in. A lot of empty floor space. To my left is a giant booth with just a bunch of merchandising for the company. Shirts, hats, drink bottles, varsity jackets, like all. I'm like, it's a lot of money spent on merchandise for an expo. No one really has any idea what it's about. Okay, cool. Follow the path down the left of the wall. An artist alley. There's a side wall and about three little run sides for artist alley. Okay, cool. I love a good artist alley, because I found some art. I found some cool God of War stuff, picked it up, looked really cool. I'm like, all right. And then there's like a couple stalls, really, and one of them is for Good Games, which was a sponsor of the show. Cool. All right. Then there's like a board game section with like 3 companies. It's like Marvel Champions, Wingspan. Wingspan's a dope game, by the way, so there's that. And a couple other little ones. And then there's a big cosplay stage, a big stage we use for cosplay, which is cool. All right, cool. And then a big screen over the back corner for some esports. A BYOC area, another smaller screen. I think it was supposed to be a stage. Don't really remember. A retro open console area. And there was like 5 little indie booths. But I think there was only 3 because one of them was clearly WarioWare. And I'm pretty sure that's not an independent game. That's the floor. So I was literally able to see everything the floor had to offer in no less than 15 minutes. Just walking around, coming back.
So what'd you do all day? Because you've been up there all day. So
I have. I got there at 10:30 and I got home at like...
If it took you 15 minutes to do a lap of the show floor and it seems like you were underwhelmed by what they were showing...
All right.
The fuck did you do all day?
Now, so I'm going to preface one thing. As we mentioned, we went there as media passes, with the media pass. So, what I've essentially explained to you just then was the experience if you were a standard consumer, standard patron, and it's probably a bit shit because of that. However, I bumped in a good friend Ethan from Tagbods. It's 10:30 in the morning, might I add. We're just chatting. And he's like, hey, come up to the VIP bar. I'm like, it's fucking 10:30. He's like, yeah, I already had 2 drinks. What's your point? So apparently, like, there was a VIP bar area. And in that area, like, if you were a VIP or a content creator or a media, you're able to go up there. And it was an open bar. So I go up there. I bump into, Dylan from the Explosion Network. Because I know he flew in from Tassie, so he was there by himself. I was there by myself. I didn't really see anyone else that I knew. So I was like, oh, let's fucking hang out. So we did. Went up to the bar, had a chat with Ethan. We were probably there for like 2 hours. And we're like, probably should go do something. So we went back down, did another lap, and then went, So we went back upstairs. So, like... Yeah, and then I was there until about 6. So, and in that time, like I had a couple of drinks. I just spent a lot of time just socializing, like catching up with other creators that and media peoples that I knew, and just meeting new ones, which is a big one too. So it's mixed, right? I had a good day. Unrelated to like the expo, I was at the expo, but there were literally moments where I forgot where I was. Not because I was hammered, but because I was just like, wait, where am I?
It was because he was hammered, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's cool. No, it's because it was one of those, like, I'm just having this social experience, and then I go, oh, yeah, there's a fucking expo downstairs. Oops. So, like, my experience of what the expo is totally different to what the average patron would be. Mm. Now, these are actually, do you have any questions before I just kind of keep going?
No, it's all good. Keep going.
Okay. So, my assessment of this event. Now, knowing full well this is the first one, and I'm very understanding that it's the first one, because, as I said, the first of anything is rough. The expo lacks its own identity. I don't know what it wants to be. So it's named the Game Expo, which tells me there should be games. And yeah, there were games. There was a retro free console area. Okay, that's minimal effort. All right, minimal effort. We have a BYOC area, so bring your own computers. We're going to have a little LAN party. Okay, literally the cheapest thing you could fucking do. People pay extra for those tickets. They bring their own computers. All you got to do is provide monitors and a table. Or maybe not them. Maybe you bring your own monitor too. Like, lowest bar of entry. All right. Esports. Very low-key esports events. But then again, with the likes of DreamHack, which is literally a giant convention just for esports. Okay. Cool. So you're doing a lesser version of something else. All right. Artist Alley. Cool. PAX doesn't have an Artist Alley. That's dope. Like, it gave me, the Artist Alley gave me energies of like a Supernova or like AMC, which was an old expo that used to get done. It doesn't exist anymore, but like, it was really low key. It was tiny. It was small. It was cool. All right. That's interesting. It was good. But like, majority of the artwork was very general pop culture and or anime inspired. So does that fit with the gaming branding? Not really. Okay, what about the sponsors? So does that mean, with the sponsors of like SteelSeries, Rode, are there booths for these people? No, there isn't. A lot of the booths that were there were kind of like little trinkety shit or good games selling like Pokemon cards, D&D books, all for literally the shelf price. No real reason. Conventions always, the prices are never marked down or a, expo deal. They are literally the same prices as if you buy them. If you bought them from like EB Games Online, Gameology, you're paying less. All right, so so in that case, it's not like PAX or Supernova or whatever. There's not enough stalls, so it's not really a trade sort of expo. Okay, cool. Then what is it? If it's none of these things, it's like it's dabbled into a little bit of everything and not delivering on any of them.
What you're kind of telling me is it's essentially just an expensive community event.
Yes. That's what it feels like. And like, don't get me wrong. Given more time, I believe that's a really good avenue to go down. Right? Because like Oz Comic Con, Supernova, all of them, they are all the same. Like, they have become the same amorphous fucking blob where you pay $30 whatever to get into a convention to just have the right to go to 35 different stalls that all sell Funko Pops. Right?
Yeah.
That is gross. I haven't enjoyed a Supernova or a Comic Con in a very long time. Because everything about that event you have to pay for. You pay to get in, okay. The stalls, okay. You pay to do meet and greets, okay. Pay for photo opportunities, okay. It's just opening your wallet and pulling shit out the whole way through. Now, granted, this did not feel as predatory in terms of make you pay for everything. It did have that really good community feel. Like, it felt like RTX and a very small RTX. Like, the Artist Alley was cool. It's really cool to see great art. And there was a lot of really, really good art. As I said, I bought 2 pieces because it was fucking cool. And I think doubling down on that would be a great idea. But then the right balance of that, of course, so it doesn't feel like a market. That was the analogy that was given to me today by friend Fid. And I quite like that analogy. But like, okay, then you have an indie game section. You have 3 indie games. What? And like, as I said, like, esports, there's events that do it better. Now, don't get me wrong. That's from the consumer side. That media room, by far the best media room I've ever been in. Not just because it had beers and spirits, but because it had like comfy seats and nice tables with good lighting and some video games for us to sit there and play and chat and have a good time. Like, that was a cool experience, but that's not everyone's experience. Everyone's experience is that floor. So, like, I can say I had a good day because I got to socialize with my other media and content buddies. And that was awesome. But that is not everyone else's experience. It's weird. It's a very weird event to explain. Because once again, like, when I walked in and the first thing you see is a giant booth of just Game Expo branded apparel and like trinkets. Could that money have been spent on anything else? Because I understand brand awareness, right? It's incredibly important for a brand new company. But right now, what does that brand mean? I have a shirt that says the Game Expo on it, but I don't know what that means. It just means I went to an event that was kind of fine. Like, I'm not going back tomorrow because I've got my son. But if I did, you know what I'd be doing?
Beers.
Hanging upstairs. More socializing. And like, because once again, like, PAX is that too. PAX is a social event, but it's also bolstered by everything. Even if PAX had the same quality media room with the same, like, schmoozy networking atmosphere, I would still have spent more time on the floor.
Yeah. PAX is very overwhelming to a degree as well, though, if you go in there blind without a plan. So having something smaller scale would be beneficial, I think.
Yeah.
But they clearly need to work out what it is that they want to be. And obviously it's still in its infancy if it's their first.
But my understanding is they didn't know what they were. Not a lot of stuff was locked in until like a couple of days ago. Mm. That's not good. I know, it's a tough one. Would I go next year? I probably would. Because I would like to see this succeed. Because there is, like, PAX is awesome. It's a really cool thing to happen in October. But why not have something at the start of the year? Right? There's nothing else. Like, there's no Supernovas, there's no Oz Comic Cons, and even then they're kind of dead because the Oz Comic Con and Supernova were entirely reliant on international talent coming in. That's more expensive than ever. And there's only so many, like, we're in a post-celebrity world. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. Like, the idea of these movie stars, TV stars, it doesn't happen in the same way it used to. So their entire business model's a little bit fucked. And a good community event like this, awesome. But, like, in that case, they need to set it up to be more community driven. It's tough. Today's, once again, I said I enjoyed my time because I had a unique experience. And I had an experience that others wouldn't match.
Yeah.
In the chat, Super Marcy, Satmas, goes, I was meant to go and I would love to see smaller events succeeds, but sounds like I would have been there 10 minutes and left. You would have. And I appears that's to be a common consensus. So if you didn't go there with the intention to do the Apex tournament, which is tomorrow, by the way, like, why not have an Apex tournament each day? If you're not going there for cosplay, then what are you gonna do? Like, if you went there if anything, be a cosplay event, be a fucking LAN party event. Have the Artist Alley. No one else really does that. Do that. That's the answer. Find what it is and just do it better. Like, the shoot your shot wide doesn't work anymore. Like, even niche events are going under. Like, I think the Crunchyroll Expo's done. I think that's happening again. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough. And look, I say this is someone that didn't organize it, someone that didn't invest in it. And like, shit, I made up my fucking fuel to go there in just like the 3 drinks that I had. All right? Once again, not the average experience. MGB in the chat goes, it's great to have more conventions around. Helps to bring more people together in a great way. Mr. Hawko, he says, is it some classes BS designed by someone who wants to hang out with VIPs? Open bar at the VIP area, but nothing for the punters who paid. That is true. I had that consideration when I was up there. I'm sitting to myself thinking, like, it's nice, but like, it does feel different. Like, my understanding is there was no booze downstairs, only booze upstairs. So you're kind of not wrong. And I think knowing that the expo didn't have a lot, I think the idea of swinging some love and some special treatment to the influencers and to the media and to like people in the VIPs, quote unquote, is the idea is that they would go, hey, look, wasn't that bad? Which is exactly what I did. But I'm also because of the nature of the platform that we have in terms of long form content with podcasts, I can sit here and go, I had a good time, but you can't put everything I just said into a tweet. You can't. Or an Instagram post. You know what I mean? It's just like, I look at the marketing and I see that robot. I'm like, how much did they pay for someone to fucking mock that robot? And could have been using... PAX doesn't really have a mascot. And Penny Arcade is a massive company. Or at least I think they did once. I don't know if they do anymore. But, you know what I mean? Like, that's just where I sit. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like, is it run by people that just want to hang out with their mates in a VIP? It's a lot of money to spend to do something like that. I can't verify yes or no. Like, I met the technical director. Turns out, like, I met him ages ago. Like, he's a name that I was like, oh yeah, I know that dude. Like, we've email exchanged or something once before, right? But yeah, it's a lot of effort just to hang out with some people. I know this is a giant tax write-off or something. I don't know. But yeah, it does feel that there is a great differential between those that paid and those that were invited. And this is the thing. So to PAX's credit, you're treated literally no different. You line up in the same lines. The only advantage you get is you get to go in an hour early on the Friday. That's it. Now, what I would like is somewhere in the middle. Like, I miss EB Expo. EB Expo is the best expo that there has been in this country. It was a 3-day event. Awesome. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday night was press night. So you could go there. So we would go and we would get to go hands on with all the games. We were there for a couple of hours, and we got to have the schmoozy events like this, and shake hands and meet see people you haven't seen forever, and that's it. There's no other treatment for the rest of the weekend. It's like you've had your 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever it was. Now you're everyone else, and that's good. Like, I love that, and I still went all 3 days. Because the Expos was awesome, and the other advantage of the EB Expo is it didn't hide the fact that it was a consumer-driven expo. Like, we have a giant store in the middle of the expo. There's games and shit you can play, and everything that's playable you can go pre-order. Like, it didn't hide the fact that it was trying to sell you something all the time, but it didn't try to pull the money out of your pocket like a Supernova or a Oz Comic Con. It's weird. Marcy, at least they can take on feedback and put it into play. And that's totally true. Like, first times, as I said, that, and I got to reiterate, it's first go. I've never run an expo, and nor think I could. I can sit here and look at it, and I can make some critiques. Like a more relevant example, like I was involved in a company's first ever wrestling show last week. Was there lots of mistakes? Damn right there was. Is there a lot of rooms to learn? Damn right there is. And will that person learn? I damn hope so. but it's their first go at it. But if the second show happens and all those things are still there, that's when you can pull the plug. Same as this. If this expo happens again and it's just as trash, well, it's not trash, just as what feels low effort, that's a problem. Hopefully it goes better. MGB goes, considering last year how CR Expo, which one was that? Crunchyroll, went first one under Sony 2, they have a lot to learn. So, with the Crunchyroll, I do have some information around why that was such a fuck up. So, essentially, especially with all those lines, etc., the issue with that was the verbiage in the contractual agreement between the expo and the convention center. There was wording in their agreement that said, I think it was X amount of people for the weekend. So rather than per day, they had to have like they couldn't have as many people on in due to fire, whatever, right? That was the problem. So they got it fixed on the day, which then opened the doors up. So that's a legalities concern. Is it the fault of the people running the event? Not really. But as they are the front facing, they're what people see. Yes, then it's technically their fault. And Kumquat adds, are LAN parties still a thing? Apparently. Is it 2003 again? This is the thing. Why would you want to bring your own computer to a fucking convention? I personally don't understand it, but I don't play PC, and that's one thing.
Some people have cool PCs that they're like showing off to people.
Yeah, is it like a car show? Is that kind of the idea?
It's not everyone else's fault that you have the equivalent of a fucking old lady handbag for a computer.
It's true. My computer does suck arsehole. That's very true. And they also add, I like the idea of something set up, but BYOC, that's a big effort with NBN now to most people. I hope it succeeds, but sounds like it took fun ideas from 20 years ago and missed out on getting in some quality gaming entertainment options. Now, don't get me wrong, PAX has BYOC. They've always have. So it's not as if it's new, and that's what I'm saying. Like they've tried to, like, there is nothing wrong with knowing your inspiration, right? This show is directly inspired by the likes of PlayStation Beyond, PS I Love You XOXO, Sacred Symbols, all those things, right? And like all the various podcasts that I've consumed in my time. We are the sum of our influences, and that's fine. But like, what they've done here is they've just picked up things that they think might be enjoyable from other events and tried to cram it all together, and in a result lost their own voice if they had one.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things at play there. And Super Marcy adds, the problem would be if they don't take on feedback and don't make positive changes. That's correct. That's the next step, really. But yeah, any more questions?
No, I think you covered everything nicely.
Yeah, good. But there you go.
So you're not going back tomorrow to play Parcel?
Oh yeah, that's right. And there was like panels, but they're not really panels, like because they didn't have any of the fucking auditoriums. It was like a small.
Wasn't there like a gigantic fucking chess tournament on as well?
Yeah, there's like a whole like all the free play board game area most of it was just chess. Nothing wrong with that. Chess is pretty fucking cool.
Chess is pretty cool, but if I was to go to a gaming expo and they're like, we've got a tabletop section, and I rolled up and all it was chess, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, like I was like,
unless I was seeing some like Harry Potter ass fucking wizard's chess, and the chess pieces are like fighting on top of the table or something. That'd be cool. I'd be down for that. But
like, because there's a tabletop area, it's like, oh, sick. Maybe there'll be some minis, and I can get some minis. No.
Yeah, fucking mini pawns, mate.
yeah, just miniature chess pieces is pretty much where I was all at. But yeah, as I said, look, I enjoyed my time, but not for the expo. Yeah, like I appreciate the invite because like I didn't know about, like, once again I should also specify, like the VIP bar thing that wasn't advertised. Like I didn't know until I got there. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like I didn't be like, I'm gonna take a media pass because there's an open bar. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, as long as they try to grow and change, all that sort of stuff. All right, Max. Speaking of cool things to enjoy, what did you buy this week?
Oh, I bought nothing.
Oh yeah, technically bought nothing. That's true.
I was sponsored.
You're sponsored by your mum.
My mum. Yeah.
Your mum's down. She got Ripper COVID in your house, and she paid you.
She's not anymore. She's going back to Coming back to the wonderful land of Queensland. But I was lucky enough to score a DualSense Edge.
Ooh, a little bit higher. A little bit higher.
A little bit higher.
There it
is
is.
That working?
There you go.
Yeah, we go. There's some things I love about this controller, and there's things that are slowly growing on me. So I got this Friday morning, so yesterday at time of recording. So I've literally had it for about 24 hours. The pros are the weight of the controller. It's nicely weighted. It's nice and heavy. Feels durable. Really good. It has all the bells and whistles that a DualSense the DualSense has. Great, love it. The back paddles are all right. I wish they sat a little bit differently. So they sit. I don't know if you can see in the screen here, but they sit there.
Mm-hmm.
My scuff.
So for those that can't, always watching the audio version,
so they
like they kind of like when your hand sits around a control, it's kind of where your middle fingers would sit.
It sits where the middle finger is up. I have a scuff controller as well for my PlayStation 4. The paddles sit at the ring finger distance, so a little bit further down. So I find that position is a little bit better. I tend to hit the paddles accidentally if I grip the controller too tightly.
Well, because once again, your anchor fingers should be your middle fingers. Yeah. Like what hold the controller, yeah.
Yeah, so if you squeeze too tightly, you're going to hit those buttons. The only real issue I have with the controller is the face buttons feel really weird. They don't have...
It's like a mushy?
Yeah, they're not as tactile as the standard DualSense controller. And the other one is the battery life on this thing is fucking hot garbage. I think I got 3 to 4 hours out of mine before it died.
Did you charge it up?
I did charge it up. Oh, well, I ran it flat first and then charged it fully and then ran it flat again. But, I mean, I have the luxury of... I sit at a desk when I play PlayStation. I'm not one of those people that sits on a couch or whatnot. So I'm within a meter of where I need to be. So for the most part, I do play cabled anyway. It's not a really big deal for me. But for the average consumer who sits on a couch and plays, 3 to 4 hours is unacceptable for a battery life on a $330 controller. Is outrageous. Other than that, for a Pro Controller, it's nice. It feels great. It runs well. Super easy to set up because everything's obviously done inside the PlayStation 5 system menus, as opposed to like a third-party branded scuff, for instance, where you have to use like a magnetic thing, and then you push the button that you want to set, and then push the button that you want to assign, and then you have to like swivel the thing at the same time. Nightmare. This is so much easier to use, easier to set up, and obviously that helps just being manufactured by the same company.
Yeah.
But
well, like because then there's also like the Razer Raiju,
like the Raiju,
which was done all through an app. So you just Bluetooth to your phone, you boop. This is even easier again.
It's cool, but the price is steep for what it is.
How much was it? $329?
$339, I believe, is the cheapest I found it.
Brutal.
Yeah. So it is very much a luxury controller, not a pro controller.
Yeah. Man, if I can get a DualSense Edge from giving my mum COVID, then that's a pretty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm still under the assumption that my kid gave us all COVID, but we're all negative now. We're all back. My kid still has a bit of a gnarly cough.
Yeah,
I've developed like a bit of a runny fucking nose after my negative, but yeah, we're all good now, which is great. And I can now say that I've been COVID free since 23. So, one good thing came out of this.
It's true. It's one advantage. But yeah. So what games have you tested it out with? Have you jumped into Destiny, DMZ?
So I have been playing in a beautiful transition. I've been playing all of those above games. Destiny 2. I've been playing DMZ, so Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I used it to play Rocket League. Didn't go well. And Octopath Traveller 2.
Did the back buttons really benefit Octopath Traveller?
Yeah, so I have the left toggle as X. So while I'm perusing stuff on my computer with my right hand, I can just play the whole fucking game one-handed.
Just like skipping through dialogue.
That's what you want to be doing on screen. It's just like It didn't work well for Rocket League. I'm one of those people who grips my controller tightly when I'm like getting into it.
Yeah.
So accidentally jumping constantly is fucking annoying in Rocket League. For COD, it's great. I've got it set up so left paddle is jump, right paddle is like a punch. So I never have to take my thumbs off the aiming and moving sticks ever. So yeah, it's good.
Very nice. Well, I'm glad I didn't spend the money to be somewhat disappointed. Well,
No, it's good.
yeah, just like
It will be. I mean, it will be my main controller. Like I
well, you'd fucking hope so.
it's but yeah, it took some getting
another
used to.
advantage is because it's right there. You can have it plugged in the entire time without any major concerns.
Yeah. The only downside is the battery life. So, and that's not an issue for where I game. So,
exactly. Good. Very, very cool. But as you said, you've been playing Octopath. Have you been still digging it?
So I'm about 15 hours deep now. I have unlocked 6 of the 8 characters, and I have done chapters 1 and 2 of all of those 6 characters. I definitely have a favorite. So your party can only consist of 4 characters at any given time. I definitely have my favorite 4. I have a feeling that one of the 2 that I haven't unlocked yet will become a permanent member of my team. Just because I need the role of the conventional tank, the guy with a lot of health that can take hits. I don't have that. I have a team of squishy boys at the moment, which is not great. All their stories are not created equally, unfortunately. There's just characters I just could not give a shit about, and then there's other characters that I cannot wait to learn more about their backstory. So I think I mentioned it last week. The second character I unlocked was like essentially the mage class, where he has been framed for the murder of his wife and child. Super keen on his story. He's basically on like this revenge quest, which is rad. One of the other stronger storylines, in my opinion, has been the priest class. Basically, he's essentially an investigator or an investigator inside the priesthood, and their equivalent of the Pope was murdered, and he's like, I'm going to try and work out who did this and how they managed to do it. So there's some really cool stories, and unfortunately there's some others who's just like, I want to be a famous dancer, and I don't really care about anything else. So I'm a greedy merchant. My father got hoodwinked by doing shoddy contract work in his youth. I'm like, okay, cool, good for you. And it's like it's like that stereotypical like Southern American style writing, and it's just like you're just picturing like these fat cat oil guys just like ha ha ha,
like Texas, like Texas oil man.
It's basically that. So some of them are just like whatever, and some of them have been really cool. So I'm about 15 hours deep into that, still digging it. I think the first game's better after playing this for a bit longer. The characters in the first game seem to be more engaging than what these ones are. They have added some new stuff in the second game, but overall, the first one's a little bit stronger. So if you've played the first one and enjoyed it, you may not enjoy the second one as much, but it is still solid gameplay. Interesting. Well, the characters aren't as fun as the first one, which is a shame.
It is a bum.
I have completed my second run through of the Destiny 2 Lightfall campaign, so I finished it with Warlock.
Is your stance still the same?
I have, yeah. The moment-to-moment gameplay is still tight as. This week I did the new exotic secret mission, got myself a friggin' Giganto Spear, which is rad. But I have been a hunter main since day 1, Destiny 1. Mm-hmm. I may be a Warlock guy now after finishing Lightfall and getting the new subclass for Warlock.
Okay. What's the difference? Why would you be inclined to switch?
It's just more fun now. So hunters, I feel, got shafted. So their gimmick for the new Strand subclass is you can grapple twice, and any other class can only grapple once. Not that exciting to be able to grapple a second time, to be honest. But when you're a Warlock, with the build that I've been running, essentially I get a kill, and that enemy explodes, and any enemy around that gets hit by the explosion gets strung up, or suspended is the keyword that they use, basically green strands of thread come out of nowhere and string them up, and then they blow up, and then anything that explosion hits then suspends the rest of the room, and then threadlings, these little green bugs, will fly out of everything and blow up more things, and then more things get suspended, and then more threadlings come out, and then more things blow up, and I can clear an entire room with one fucking bullet.
Oh, no wonder you like it, because a little OP moment.
Now, like, I still love my hunter, but Warlock's kind of gaining some traction for me.
Okay.
Titan, in my opinion, is still a piece of shit, and I'm not looking forward to playing the campaign through on my Titan. My Titan has always been my least favorite character, and I have a feeling it's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, the moment-to-moment gameplay is still tight. The story left something to be desired, and I believe Bungie addressed that in there this week at Bungie Weekly.
Oh, they're like, hey,
news
something's
drop.
coming, sort of thing?
They're like, we see that it wasn't as well received as we were hoping. Things are going to be coming, and we'll sort everything out. Just keep playing. Just everyone keep playing. But yeah. And then DMZ is still DMZ. I've worked out that the trio that I now play with are super sweaty.
Yeah.
We are at the point where we no longer do missions in the game. We've unlocked our second insured slot for our weapons, so it's just we're just gonna hunt the squads. Now, for whatever reason, the game only gives us one spawn. So we spawn in the same spot every time for some reason. I don't know. It's supposed to be random, but it's not. And the first thing we do when the countdown timer starts is we open the map. If there's a car next to us, we get in the car and we drive around the corner up to the freeway, and there's a team there that spawn in. If we're lucky, I'll run most of them over. If not, we'll shoot them all and I'll die. If there's no car, we get on the jet ski that spawns because we spawn at the river. And then instead of driving the car up onto the freeway, we jet ski underneath the freeway and use the grapple point to go up to the freeway, and then we shoot them in the back. And then we just go hunting squad from squad. We just hit all the spawn points. We went on a tear the other night where we didn't get less than 20 kills per round, and there's only 60 players in the match. So we were killing a third of all squads by ourselves. At one point, there's a contract in DMZ called Hunt Squad, which gives you a radar point of where the squad is that you're hunting. We got hunted by a super squad of 6 people. Fucking killed all of them. We just sat there. Yeah, we get super sweaty when we play Call of Duty. To the point where I think I sent a video clip to you guys the other day. One of my teammates was running a sword only class, wasn't using any guns. Literally jumped on the exfil chopper and killed an entire team. He proceeds
to fucking Rambo down. Like, I think it was kind of in that, like, there's the heli kind of lands near the riverbed, and you gotta jump over the thing. So he just kind of, I just see, almost Leroy Jenkins it, just fucking fangs it, jumps in the chopper, samurai swords everyone, and then as the chopper's going, he's like, whatever, ching, 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 and then just fucking jumps back out and continues as per normal. Here I am getting wrecked by bots. And this is what Max gets to experience. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I'm the designated wheelman. I just drive. That's all I do now. I just drive around in the car. I just get my teammates from point A to B, and then I'll just revive them or save them if need be. But it's been good fun. I've gone from hating Call of Duty to this one singular game mode reviving my love of this franchise.
Just suddenly you're a stack more invested in this acquisition and where it goes.
A stack more invested.
Well, yeah. So speaking of sweaty, now mind you, I haven't done the same level of sweaty as you. Like, my sweaty's different because I've had the VR headset.
Mine's real sweat.
Mine's real sweat. So this week I had spent a lot of time playing one particular VR game, which I still can't talk about. But I'll talk about that later. The other one I've been playing is what we received. So I hit up the lovely team at Play On Australia, who provided us a couple of review codes. They provided us After the Fall, which is a cool looking zombie game.
I'm so keen to play that.
Yeah, I'm itching. And the other one they gave us was called Unplugged Air Guitar. So, I think Guitar Hero in VR. So, alright, this is the thing.
Pretty sure that exists, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Like the Rock Band did a VR thing, but yeah,
Yes.
it did. So here's the thing. So obviously there's only like two. It's like two. There's like that one, and that one. So all fingers on, just your index or just your other remaining fingers, right? Blah, 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 blah. That's the guitar noises. So the guitarist from Steel Panther is like this poster that talks to you, which is weird in and of itself. But like, yeah, you've literally got to like slide your hand up and down the neck. You got to strum, but you've got to have your hand in the right spot. Like you can grab the whammy bar and move the up and down, so you can get the whole. But like the track, I think traditional Guitar Hero, right? The track that comes down the middle, like it doesn't come down the middle. It comes into the neck of the guitar, like the fretboard. So like if you put your arm up, it weirdly curves up to it. Then you can't see what you're trying to play. You got to bring it down. It's really interesting. It's fun. It's a cool little gimmick. Like there's also a VR drum game called Drums Rock, I think. But
is it licensed music or is it?
Well, the two songs that are in it, I only played 2 songs because I was like, well, I had somewhere to be, so I was like very quickly wrapped it up. But the first 2 songs are "Should I Stay or Should I Go" by The Clash. And the second song is Roadie by Tenacious D. So, like, not unknown songs. I don't think that there will be, like, an absolute banger of a sound, of a track list, like your Guitar Heroes, like your Rock Band. But, like, first, that's all right. It's not horrible. It's not brilliant, but it's not horrible. Cool. So that was interesting. I will go back and check that out a little bit more. Because we're just kind of like just doing this little sampler thing around all these cool VR titles you should check out. Like if you do like Rock Band, yeah, sure, I'd give it a bell. I think it's like $30. It's really not that expensive. But yeah, the Drums Rock one should be interesting. But it's the little details that I really enjoyed. So like if you ever do play VR, excuse me, you tend to get those cool like floating hands, but all the hands are tattooed. It's really cool. Super dumb. What else have I been playing? Let me do a quick look at my phone. Been playing more Hogwarts Legacy. I jumped in. I played some Overcooked and Moving Out with my partner. She
and now I'm single again.
Yeah, I was gonna say the joke is we're still single. I'm single now, but no, we're still together, which is nice. We didn't have a big deep dive, but it was good fun. The other game that I've been playing is a code that came through a little while ago. Now I jumped on it because I know it had a PSVR support coming, but it hasn't landed yet. But I thought I'd give it a go anyway. Like now that I've got it, it's called Colossal Cave. So Colossal Cave is an old text adventure game from back in the day. So what they've done is they've taken that text adventure and they have put it into a 3D space, but it's really cool in that. It's relatively simply laid out, but it's very old in its system of like you can look and then you can like you look and you grab. You can toggle between the two, and when you look at something and you press action button or X or whatever, like it'll give you a verbal description of what's around you. So in the same way, and everything's conducted using north, south, east, and west, like the old text-based games would. We like go north. This is what you see. All right, go south. This is what you see. So like you can literally auditory information your whole way through it. But then it's it's kind of this cool sort of exploration. So you go down, you find a little a grate, and then you're in this cool cave, and then you explore the cave, and sort of check. Like I haven't spent a lot of time with it. Until I have spent a lot more time with a particular game, like so I can't talk about. But the gimmick of it, I really like. The idea of a text adventure, but in 3-dimensional space. And it's in VR, which I don't think the VR part's available yet. But when it is, we can check that out too. And what else? Well, that's all I can talk about at the moment. I'm pretty sure.
And more Minecraft.
Oh, and more Minecraft with my son. Yeah, that one's a big given. Yeah, I've been doing that one a lot too. But yeah, I think that's all. That's all I've been playing. Wow, it's been a long just setup to the show. We're only in the first. We haven't got into the other parts yet. So let's get into that section now. The section's called Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation.
This week in PlayStation, we have the big 7.0 firmware update. It's finally happened. We have Discord support as long as you have a phone or PC close by. So, a couple of months ago, about a year ago now, I guess, you could link your Discord to your PlayStation 5 and it would show what you're playing. Mm-hmm. You now have to relink your PlayStation 5 to Discord. And you can now join voice chats. However, it's essentially the same implementation as Microsoft have. You have to open Discord on either your PC or your mobile device. Join a voice chat using your PC or mobile device. And then click a button that says join on PlayStation 5. Then it'll automatically join you into the Discord chat using your PlayStation 5 headset, voice, all that jazz. So if you don't have a device nearby, you're shit out of luck. Once you're in and you get over that tiny hurdle of having to use another device, the audio quality is great.
Yeah.
Way better than fucking PlayStation chat. Like, way better. But, like, it's kind of shitty that Sony invested in Discord.
Like millions of dollars.
And we got the same integration as Microsoft, but like 8 months later.
Yeah. Now, do you...
I wonder what the holdup was. If they got it working so quickly for them, like what took them so long to get it over here. I wonder if it was something on the PlayStation side as opposed to a Discord issue.
Or is
we will probably never know.
Done, maybe.
I mean, we will probably never know. But like, if the only hurdle to it is to get Discord on my PlayStation, if my only hurdle is you need to pick up your phone and join a chat that way first, I guess it's not horrible. Now again, I have the luxury of where my PlayStation is set up is also where my PC is set up, so I tend to be on both at the same time at any given time. So joining a chat is not that difficult for me. And I guess most people I know are also pretty close by to either a phone device or a PC to join that chat. But it makes life easier in like doing Destiny 2 raids. Like a lot of people, because everything's cross-platform now, a lot of people are like, hey, we only use Discord, we will not use in-game chat. Now, as a PlayStation user, I can be like, yeah, I can join fucking Discord. Cool, let's do it. I just wish it was better implemented. I wish we could just get a Discord app on the PlayStation.
Do you feel this might be an expectation thing on your part? Because as you said, it is the exact same thing as Xbox has delivered. And
100%.
As Reverend Puck mentions in the chat, they've never heard of any problems with Xbox Discord users.
No,
so it sounds
100%.
like the implementation's good, but...
And I realize that it's also unrealistic because some people are in like hundreds of Discord servers. Can you imagine trying to fucking scroll through all those Discord servers, and then each server could have multiple voice channels in it?
Yes.
Be a fucking nightmare trying to...
And then learn all the text-based stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I understand, but I was hoping for something more, but what we've got is great.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things, isn't it?
So the other things that the other big hitters for this patch are the 1440p video output.
Oh yeah, I thought that was already out.
Variable refresh rate for 1440p output.
All right.
Data transfers between PS5 consoles.
Because now that people can get them, I guess people can have two.
Mm-hmm. Your PlayStation 5 is now PS3.
What?
So one of the things they've implemented is if you own a disc of a game, like a disc-based version of like a physical game, and let's say you get that game on PlayStation Plus, you can now launch that title using the disc
Oh, okay.
instead of needing to download the different SKU type, and vice versa. So, if you owned it digitally and then get a disc, you can play it off the disc without having to repatch all the crap. Similar to that of, MGB put in the chat only in America then, right? I don't think so. I think it works everywhere. So, for instance, some of our PlayStation Plus games, I own a disc. I can now kind of just get rid of them. I don't see a huge use case where this is going to be helpful.
I think what MGB is bringing up is because we don't have access to PS3 games within our PlayStation Plus supports, the functionality may not exist in this country. Yeah, well, I don't think it, because you're not going to be able to put in your copy of fucking.
No, my reference was the PlayStation 3 used to do that. Like if you owned the disc version and had a digital version, it both would work without having to download a different SKU.
Oh yeah, where it yells you, because like now, if you bought the disc of something and then you had it digitally, you go you got to delete the fucker and reinstall the digital version.
Yeah. Okay,
I get where you're going. I thought you were inside the idea of like, hey, if you have the PS3 copy of Ratchet and Clank, you put it in, and because Ratchet and Clank's part of the PlayStation Plus, he goes, oh, cool.
No.
You got us on the wording there.
That's on me. And lastly, the Platinum Trophy Pop now has a fancier animation. There was a couple of other things that don't affect us here in Australia, but the voice control stuff works a little bit better now in the UK and Americas, and that's pretty much it. And our wireless controllers all got an update as well.
Yeah, and they can update wirelessly now. You don't have to plug your controller in to be updated. It goes, bing, hey, you want to talk through Bluetooth? I'm like, yes, beep. Big win. All right, moving on. Acquisitions and investments, writes Max. All the way back in 2021, Sony revealed that it had earmarked around 2 trillion yen, or about $18 billion US, I assume, for strategic investments across its entire company, which expanded the acquisition of developers like Housemarque and Bungie, as well as the anime streaming service Crunchyroll. This money was intended to last until 2024, and during a Morgan Stanley web conference earlier this week, it has confirmed that it has about $5 billion left. It is important to underline that this figure expands to the entirety of the Japanese organization and not just the PlayStation division. But to be fair, SIE, Sony Interactive Entertainment, has been putting the money to good use, both outright acquiring longtime partners with investing in developers like Epic Games and From Software. With Microsoft desperately trying to convince regulators to allow it to spend $69 billion on Activision Blizzard, however, it does shine a light on the difference in pure spending power between the two. Now, with this in mind, one of the other things that has tend to come up within this community, like, oh, $5 billion, what can they do with it? And everyone's like, buy Square Enix, buy Sega, blah, 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 buy Take-Two. Like, Take-Two is worth more than $5 billion fucking dollars, all right? God
yeah,
damn.
their market cap's at like 19 million at the moment. Yeah. 19 billion at the moment.
Easy.
Something ridiculous.
Like, we're talking...
I think even Square's is at like 7 or 8. I don't think Sony could even afford Square at the moment.
Nah.
And like Square are selling their shit off like hotcakes at the moment.
Yeah, so. And like that they did mention that years ago they were talking about, like, yeah, that was years ago. Like, the industry at large has changed now. Like, the cost of everything has gone up in terms of the cost to acquire a studio has gone up because the likes of Microsoft, because the likes of Embracer Group, they've artificially inflated the market. So, like, studios that really aren't worth the amount of money that they're being sold for, therefore prevents anyone else from buying in.
Yeah.
And mind you, PlayStation shouldn't be focusing on buying studios. Like, buying Square just to spite the ABK deal, okay, what does that help anyone? Like, it wouldn't say, like, once again, there's still a lot
it would equally match the pettiness that's going on anyway at this point in time around the ABK merger.
Oh man, you want to talk about petty? You've hinted at what the next news is.
I've called this one Sabotage Isn't Just a Game Mode.
Sabotage.
So let's talk about everyone's favorite ongoing story at the moment, and that's the war of the words between Microsoft and Sony in regard to the former's intent to purchase ABK. So Sony has voiced concern that should the acquisition come to pass, future Call of Duty titles on PlayStation could be sabotaged by Microsoft, either by design or neglect. This in turn could cause players to lose, quote, confidence in PlayStation as a go-to venue to Call of Duty. As reported by Eurogamer, Sony has outlined several ways in which it believes Microsoft could damage Call of Duty or, quote, impair PlayStation's competitiveness, end quote, in a new document containing Sony's notes on the UK's Competition and Markets Authority suggestions. Sony suggests variously that the strategies available to Microsoft could include increasing the price of Call of Duty on PlayStation, degrading the quality and performance, including by ignoring DualSense specific features, restricting or not prioritizing investment in multiplayer on PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, or by simply making the game a Game Pass exclusive. But it's Sony's accusations regarding technical performance parity which are the most savage, stating that, quote, for example, Microsoft may release a PlayStation version of Call of Duty where bugs and errors emerge only once the game's final level or after updates happen. Even if such degradations could be swiftly detected, any remedy would likely come too late, by which time the gaming community would have lost all confidence in PlayStation as a go-to venue to play Call of Duty, end quote. Sony goes on to suggest that any form of behavioral commitment from Microsoft, quote, would be difficult, and further claims that Microsoft have dragged their feet, engaged only when they sensed the regulatory outlook was darkening, and favored negotiating in the media over engaging with Sony Interactive Entertainment directly.
Yes.
Microsoft responds to Sony's accusations in a statement provided to Eurogamer, quote, since the CMA issued its provisional findings, we have offered solutions which address all concerns and increases the deal's benefits to UK players and game developers. These include a guarantee of parity between Xbox and PlayStation on access to all Call of Duty, and legally binding commitments to ensure that Call of Duty is available to at least 150 million more players on other consoles and cloud streaming platforms once the deal closes. The decision now lies with the CMA on whether it will block this deal and protect Sony, the dominant market leader, or consider solutions to make more games available to more players, end quote.
All right, so
there's a lot just before you get in, I'll remind you that Microsoft have currently signed a deal with Nvidia, Steam, and Nintendo to release Call of Duty for at least the next 10 years with parity on performance, cost, release date, and one other thing. I can't think of it, but it was like features or something. Now, obviously, a Switch cannot fucking play.
It's literally not possible. There is no way to ensure that parity when you've got that many different platforms to count.
But I mean, you realize that the Switch is not going to get a real version. It's going to get a cloud version. They're going to be streaming.
Then it's not parity.
So, yeah.
Then it is not an equal delivery method. And like, don't get me wrong, what the statements that PlayStation or Sony have made here are incredibly tinfoil hat, but it's possible. The back end of their statement, though, are talking about the idea of Microsoft's focus to negotiate through media rather than directly. Yeah, that's what we're seeing.
I agree, but like the shoes also it goes both ways. Like by the sound of it, they've also offered Sony a bunch of deals, and Sony's like, no.
And they're well within their right to do so.
And they are, but if their argument is Microsoft aren't negotiating with us, and all that Sony is saying is no, we're not being like no.
Well, that's still negotiating. Negotiating doesn't mean they have to talk backwards. If the offer is there and they say no, that was the attempt of a negotiation.
I agree, but then Microsoft is still within their right to be like, hey, we've offered all these deals, and Sony's answer is just no to everything.
Cool.
Like, what are we supposed to do?
But then what does that affirm, right? Like, once again, this goes back to the greater discussion, right? And
I mean, it just affirms what we've seen in the past. Like, Sony stuck their foot in the ground, they shoved their stick in the mud with crossplay, and eventually they had to give in.
Yeah. And
Like at some point, this deal is going to bite them in the ass when Microsoft come back. If this ABK deal comes through, and Microsoft's like, "Well, we gave you the option to fucking sign the deal.
but
You
then-
didn't want it, and now this is what you get."
But with that in mind, then PlayStation Sony have every right to go, see? Our entire argument. No, I'm like, once again, I don't really give a flying fuck about this. Their entire argument through this entire everything is Microsoft will take it away from other people. It will take it away, and then Microsoft go, well, we tried to negotiate, but we're not going to give it to them. They can go, see, they did exactly what they said we would do. They did exactly what we said they would do. We said that given the opportunity, they would ensure, regardless of their sentiment, the game should be available everywhere. They didn't. They lied. It's not wrong. It's not exactly correct either. Like, it's an asterisk because, like, you know, all negotiations, whatever. But if they wanted to, they could spin it in that direction.
They could, but then, you know, it to play devil's advocate, it gets spun in the other direction. It's like, who are gamers going to be more mad at? Are they going to be mad at Microsoft for denying them access to it, or are they going to be mad at Sony for being like, well, you had the opportunity, and instead of looking after your player base and your fan base, you decided to do this. Now we will go over to Microsoft. We will do the things that you said we were going to do.
Either options come with risk.
And, you know, are they doing this to spite themselves in the end, or it's just one of those things. Like, this whole thing has been so petty.
Oh yeah,
like it really has been.
And like, even down to the, like, what if they break the last level of the game? Like, that is real petty. But like, yeah, it's like that argument kind of, by bringing that up, kind of devalues everything else that's been highlighted. And the other things that were highlighted were actually
the fact that they're like, oh, they're gonna, the first patch will break the game. The game will run perfectly fine until the first update.
But yeah, see, this is the other thing. Like, they're talking about all this parity across spaces. What's the metrics? What's the units of measurement for this? What do you determine as parity? Like, once again, they're like, oh, it's very vague. What are the repercussions if Microsoft if they fail to deliver that? Then what? Like, does the deal suddenly just stop? No. So it's, once again, Microsoft could say whatever they want, and they have demonstrated that they would say whatever they want to have this deal go through. And don't get me wrong, Sony have said near on everything they could to ensure this deal does not go through. Like, they're both swinging for the fences to be shit. And like, I saw there's a quote this week, allegedly from Jim Ryan, that was like, we don't care about Call of Duty, we just want to block the deal. And that's fine too. Good. Like, I appreciate that open and honestness if that is in fact true. Makes sense for them to want to have that stance because, okay. But like, it is getting gnarly, and there is no clean way this is going to happen. Because once again, the only way this could really work is if all, you know, like, we split it up. Microsoft buy King, which they've expressed as what they've want, that we're buying this deal because of the mobile. All right, well, here you go. Split it, you get King. Blizzard's still independent. Activision's still independent. Or they still want to buy Activision. Okay, you can buy Activision, but you know, as we can see, the greatest talking point about this deal is Call of Duty. Well, we're going to combine all the Call of Duty studios, so your Treyarch, your Infinity Wards, your Sledgehammer, Raven, etc. Combine them into their own studios called the Call of Duty Studios. Give it some fucking name. I don't know. The Soaps. The studio is called Soap. There you go, done. McTavish or some fucking character from Call of Duty, right? And within the McTavish studio umbrella, you get all them. That isn't sold. Microsoft get everything else that Activision has. Everything. They get your Tony Hawks. They get your fucking Crash Bandicoots. They get your Spyros. But they don't get Call of Duty. Because once again, if the deal is so important that, you know, like, if they sit here and talk about all the parts of that deal that's important, then it's then, and then you go, okay, well, then what if we take this way? Because what you've asked for is all of this, but you've taken away that. Yeah, but you said you wanted everything else. Like, no, we really just wanted that. We don't really care about the rest. If that's the, does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of mush it all together and then go, hey, this is it. And it's now the Call of Duty studios. That Call of Duty studio runs independently. Or it's owned by Microsoft, but it's like Bungie, handled completely individual. So there is nothing connecting it to Microsoft other than it is owned. And part of that is it must be available on all platforms. It must do this. It must do that. It's the only way to get around it. Will it happen? I don't fucking know anymore. I thought I do. I have no idea what's going to happen. It's crazy. MGB says kind of like Bethesda, but also kind of not in a way. It is, yeah. In theory, kind of, but Bethesda isn't running as an independent company. Like they're as an independent branch. They are all collectively separated with it, like ZeniMax, I should say. Once again, if you look at the tree of Xbox Studios, Microsoft Studios, it's not ZeniMax and then down. It's not like a little tree. They are all held equal now, which means Bethesda isn't operating on its own. Like in the same as Bungie. Like if you look at the PlayStation first party worldwide studios, Bungie aren't on the list because they're not. They're owned, but they're off on their own thing over there. It's interesting. Marcy adds, I read an article the other day that Microsoft also see valuing in the CEO/top management of Blizzard Activision purely because they know how to get major games out the door, allegedly. There's some truth to it. Even with all the publicity around the management, they have the experience to get it done. That is true. If you look at like the heads, like Bobby Kotick at the head of Activision, he is a piece of shit. Unquestionably. You can't be in that position of a business, of a CEO of a giant fucking corporation without some sort of sociopathic, psychopathic, fucking narcissism, just horrible fucking person. Like in order to get to that point, you must just consider humans fucking worthless. And he's demonstrated that. But Bobby Kotick is also what saved Activision. Activision nearly went under. He went in and saved it. So yes, from a greater business, from an operations, yeah, most definitely. Like, it makes sense. I don't remember who runs Blizzard, but like, Blizzard, their reputation's in the fucking hole. Like, they aren't nowhere near as popular, respected, or trusted as they once were, and a lot of that is due to poor management decisions. Let's look at the World of Warcraft 3 War Mastered Edition or whatever. That was delivered very poorly because of poor management decisions. Mm. So, like, yes, they had... But once again, the same could be said for, like, look at Todd Howard at Bethesda Softworks, right? He has a great history of getting games out the door. He does. Have they been well received recently? No. Fallout 76, Fallout 4. You know what I mean? Like, the last couple games not doing all that well, right? And what does that mean for Starfield, which now has a date? It better be fucking good. Like,
now it's a date. Yeah, it got delayed by fucking 6 months.
Yeah, so September 6th, whatever it is. Which is possibly the same time that Spider-Man comes out, by the way. Heads up. Reverend Park, Mike Yabara is the head. Thank you. Like, it's one of those things, right? I get that sentiment, Marcy. I do. Or Marzi. Once again, you're just sharing an article, so that's fine. But it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I get it. But like, and look, wait, ha! All right, here we go. An extension of that, right? Is Microsoft's first-party studio so poorly managed that they feel obligated to buy better managers? They can't even, like, well, we have subpar studios. Let's buy more. We have subpar management. Let's buy more. Bold strategy, Cotton. Fuck's sake. Fuck's sake. All right, what's next?
Quick bits for you.
Hey, go me. All right, quick bits. The penultimate episode, that's episode 8 of The Last of Us, hits 8.1 million viewers. So it's a show has consistently gone up in viewership each and every week. No, the series finale airs this Monday. Get excited. I know I am. The Last of Us Part 1 PC specs are out now, and they're fucked. Max, your beautiful new PC, which no less than 2 weeks ago were like, I installed God of War, I'm suddenly playing it at Ultra, playing Returnal, it's all smick. How does Last of Us Part 1 perform on your PC?
Yeah, I can't. According to the text document, will not be able to play it on Ultra.
Yep, I likely cannot run the main menu. Oh, shut up. Siri just yelling at me, get out of here.
It's a bit rude.
Yes, and one something that I haven't checked out yet, but I've been wanting to, Resident Evil 4 Village, no, that's not right, Resident Evil 4 Chainsaw demo is out now. So this dropped with the Capcom Mahuzma.
Yeah, some week. Capcom event happened on Friday morning.
Which I didn't know about until someone's like, hey, this happened tomorrow. I'm like, oh.
Exo Primal got a date in July, and the Resident Evil 4 demo came out. I don't know anything else that happened.
Yeah. Street Fighter 6 maybe? Who knows?
Probably.
And finally, according to a Bloomberg report, Suicide Squad has been delayed again due to poor showing at the Sony State of Play. That's pretty much confirmed. Yep. So the delay is legit. Yeah.
It's like a 6-month delay.
I don't know whether it's connected to the State of Play, but I'm sure it's not helping.
Upcoming titles, we have Walson, Lords of Mayhem, coming March 15th to PlayStation 4 and 5. Anno 1800 Console Edition, PS5, March 16th. Gorn, PS5, March 16th. The Dark Pictures Switchback VR, PS5, March 16th. Peppa Pig World Adventures, PS4, PS5, March 17th.
Ew.
WWE 2K23, PS4, PS5, March
War Games!
17th. And Trials to Azure, PS4, March 17th. Woo.
War Games! The answer is WWE 2K23. War Games! I'm fucking so keen to play it, eh? Oh, but if you have the Icon edition of WWE, it comes out Tuesday. 13th. I think. Yeah, it checks out.
The old pay to play early.
No, 14th. MGB, I've got my pre-order. Can't wait for Tuesday. I can't wait to play it.
Oh, fuck.
What happened to you?
Oh, I slept awkwardly last night, so I got this pain from my fucking shoulder blade all the way up my neck. Ooh. And as I did this to, do the sus look, I fucking pinched my neck again.
Do sus face and jerked your neck out.
Do sus face.
Yeah, but yeah, Dark Pictures Switchback. Totally forgot about that. When he's publishing it, I'll have to talk to Con. Talk to the old peoples at the Bandai's. Bandai, right? Yeah, Bandai.
Yeah, Bandai did all the Dark Pictures stuff.
It's true, they did.
It'd be really weird if this wasn't them.
Yeah, it'd be weird. Anyways, thank you everyone for joining in this week's episode. Bit of a longie because we spent a lot of time fuck-assing around at the start, just talking about nonsense.
You and your weird flex of I got fucking free beers at the Game Expo.
Yeah, I got boozed up all day. Here's 25 minutes of me talking about being boozed.
Good times.
That was good. Yeah, it was good. Either way, we appreciate you all taking the time to come and check out the show. Big thank you. Max, send us home.
Well, everybody, this PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. However, if you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, and Instagram. All of those links. And Twitter. I'm tweeting now. I'm trying to be better at the socials. Come and harass us. All those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures whilst I record this show live, where you jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. And as Marcy says, apologies for coming in late. Notifications never came up. I will listen to a start of Spotify. If you do watch us on the YouTubes, please download on the Spotify anyway, or the Apple. Just give us a free download. We'll take it. Download it, let it finish, delete it. That's cool. We'll take the rub. That's fine. But make sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review if you can. That does help the exposure just by giving a little bit of a 5-star, because it's been a while since we've had any of the ratings or reviews both on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So please give it a bell. If you are, but yeah, and of course with YouTube, you subscribe, thumbs up, that sort of stuff is always fun.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, yeah, smash that like button, as they said.
Please don't smash that like button. Just like gently caress the like.
No,
button.
Take the like button out for a nice dinner. You know, treat it nicely. Ask how its day's been. You know, and then smash. You treat it nice. Give the like some love. And then smash its fucking brains out. If you want to support this show financially, you can at patreon.com/popculture, as well as our merchandise store, popculture.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm going to go smash some people on DMZ.
Hot. I'm going to go play Resident Evil 4. I'm Ryan Betson.
And eat some pulled pork.
Oh, man, yeah.
And I'm Max Cooper.
And that was for the players. Smash getting all sweaty. Yeah.
Can't wait. Sweat, the game is lube.
Ew!